What is up, Boom Squad? I've got an awesome video for you today. It's about the upcoming patch 13.4 for League of Legends. This patch isn't slated to come out until next Thursday, February 23rd, but I want you all to take a look at all the changes here, the buffs, the nerfs, the adjustments, the skins, and a little bit of a tidbit, little extra bonus on the end. It's about Teemo, baby. Check it out. Hey, what is up, everybody? We're looking at the League of Legends patch 13.4, all the buffs and nerfs and things. I also have a little extra thing on the side to show everybody. I'll show you that at the very end, so watch all the way through here. Looking at the notes here, and now these are all proposed. Any of this stuff could change before they release the patch, the next upcoming patch, but I want to go through everything here because for the most part, they pretty much follow through on everything. It's very rare that they actually just change things here and there. They pretty much stick with it as what they've proposed. But let's look through it anyway. Spell Thief's Edge. We're getting a charge timer increase from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. A bunch of changes to the support items here. So Frostfang, you're getting the mana regen reduced all the way through its upgrades. Spectral Sickle, the charge timer is being increased by 2 seconds. You're also getting mana regen reduced. And then what's interesting, and this is basically just nerfs to the range support champions, but for the melee champions, which basically the melee champions primarily get the relic shield or the steel shoulder guards. And as you can see, the HP regen is increased. It's doubled, which is really interesting. That's early on. The upgrade goes from 50% to 75%. So 25 to 50, 50 to 75. Really interesting buffs there. Buffs and nerfs. And then we look at the system changes here. Demonic Embrace, the capped. You're getting some capped damage against jungle monsters. So any jungler that's going to build Demonic Embrace. Then you get the magical footwear here. The sellback gold is being reduced. So instead of 210 gold, it's being reduced to 30. Now, it's important to notice because if you look at this stuff on different patch notes, you will see differences in some of the statistics here. So not everything is completely aligned. So you can see right here, this says 210 gold to 90, whereas this one says 210 to 30. We do not know exactly what to expect 100%, but we are going to see a reduction. And most of this stuff is pretty much the same on both sources or all sources that I've checked. Jungle Pets, the damage AP ratio is going to be reduced from 15 to 12%. Treasure Hunter, this gold is going to be reduced as well. Doran's Shield, the regen is reduced from 6 to 4. Then the Mark, the ARAM Summoner spell, that's going to be changed. Can now be cast while rooted. Only Snowball and not Dash. We're going to look at some champion buffs here. You got the passive damage can now crit for Viego. 3%. Missing HP per 100 bonus increased to 5%. So from 3% to 5% makes him a little bit stronger on his R. Riven's getting some passive buffs here for the damage, as you can see. So the linearly changing to the percentage per level. Now deals damage to towers as well, or passive deals damage to towers, but only at half effectiveness. Her passive stacks now show under her health bar as well. Now, Aphelios is getting some buffs as well. His attack speed per rank is increased from 7.5 to 9% early on, and then later on from 45 to 54. Some nice little changes there for his attack speed scaling. Senna's got some base stats. Attack speed ratio is increased. It's a nice little change considering that her attacks are pretty slow. Her R is also getting a damage buff here. You can see on the tail end here, it's only going up 50. Bonus AD ratio is being increased on that ultimate. The cooldown is also being reduced, which is really nice for 20 seconds flat off the level 6. And then in the later game, it's going to be reduced 20 seconds as well, basically across the board as it goes down. So you can expect it to be 140, 120, and then 100 instead of 160, 140, 120. Orianna's getting some buffs here, just a little bit on her armor. Her W's getting a mana cost reduction. Malphite's getting a buff to his Thunderclap, his W. His his attack armor ratio increased from 10% to 15%, so a 5% buff there. The cleave armor ratio is getting a 5%, and the cooldown's being reduced by 2 seconds. Cho'Gath getting a little bit of a buff, his armor growth. His Q is getting an increase in damage and a reduction in mana. His W is getting a mana reduction. Alistar's passive is getting a increase on his heal, his ally heal, from 6% to 7%. That was just buffed. It's going to be buffed again. He's also getting, he had buffs before previously to his AP scaling. He's getting it some more to his Q and his W. Ahri's getting a little base stat change from the base health increase and base armor increase, which is going to be really big for her in lane, especially early game. Veigar getting a little bit of a buff here to his cast range of his Q, his cast range of his W. Now let's move on. Let's look at that again just really quick so everybody can take a look. We're going to move on to the nerfs. So now Anivia gets a little bit of a nerf on her health growth, her armor growth. Azir is getting a nerf to the base mana of his base stats. So he's getting less mana overall. He doesn't start with 480, he starts with 350. His mana growth is being increased, though, from 21 to 38. Overall, Riot is counting this as a nerf. I would say so as well. All right, so the W, the attack speed with 3 soldiers reduced. So you could see that instead of 15 to 55, it's going to 15% flat, but the passive attack speed unchanged. This is pretty massive. His recharge timer for his W is being increased as well by 1 second early on. His AP ratio is being reduced by 5%. Elise, her base stats, her spider base damage is being changed. It's having looks like a little bit of a nerf to the damage, which is nice because she's so strong. Her Q, the base damage of the spider is being reduced, and the monster damage cap's being reduced. Thank God, she's still so strong early on. Jarvan's getting a nerf to his W, so his cooldown's going back from 8 seconds to 9 seconds. His AD ratio is being reduced from 80% to 70%. Maokai getting a little bit of a nerf here. This is on the tail end, so the HP damage. Oh no, this is the nerf piece right here. So this is the buff. Sorry, the Q is being buffed, so it gets a little bit 1% damage increase percentage. So this is max HP damage on the Q, which is awesome for late game stuff. But he is getting a nerf here to his E. This is just on the later part of the game. What's big about this is his slow AP ratio. So it's being reduced from the 4% per 100 to 1%. So he's not going to have as much as slow, but what's not mentioned in here that's being proposed as well is an HP buff. So so you're doing a nerf to the AP ratio of the slow, but then the HP ratio of the slow is being increased. We'll see how that plays out. Different sources have different things here, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Should be a nerf / buff. We'll see. Udyr's base stats, his health growth is being reduced, base armor is being reduced, his Q on-hit bonus is being reduced, his R, the slow, is being reduced. Finally, I've mentioned this so many times that this needs to be reduced. That's all it is. Just reduce his slow on his R. That's really what needs to happen. Thankfully, they're going to do that. Hopefully. I think it should be maybe more than 5%, maybe 10%, but we'll see. Amumu, his base stats, his health growth is being reduced, armor growth is being reduced. His W, his target's HP per second is being reduced, but on the tail end. So instead of 1 to 2%, it's going 1 to 1.6. Samira, her passive is being nerfed. The bonus movement speed per stack changed. So instead of a 3.5% flat, it's going to scale. So it's going to go 1 to 4%. So it'll be stronger later game, but weaker earlier game. Her R2, this is really good. Her lifesteal effectiveness is being reduced from 66.6, so 2/3, to 50%. So from a 2/3 to 1/2. Thankfully, that's I hope that's enough because her lifesteal gets out of control. Same thing with Neela, but you know, whatever. Jax, the health is being reduced, base stats, and the health growth is being increased just by 1 though. His Counter-Strike AP ratio is being reduced. Damaging attacks now increase all damage for E instead of just base damage. His R, his on-hit base damage is being reduced as well. This is all good stuff because Jax's changes made him really strong. So this should kind of balance him out. Some champion adjustments here. Thresh is getting some changes. There's Q, W, and E. As you can see, a little increase of base damage. Base shield is being reduced here. His cooldown's being increased, so a nerf here. So a buff to the Q, nerf to the W, and a buff to the E. Now this is interesting right here. The kill and comeback experience nerfs. Riot is also making some changes to experience from taking down champions. This will impact a champion's early game before anything else, but it seems like Riot will work on more experience changes in the future. What's interesting is if you are a part of kills early on, your experience that you get is being reduced. This is big, so you don't have as much of a snowbally effect in terms of XP. Sure, you're going to still have the gold, but XP is going to be reduced early on for this. So this is key, really key, because a lot of times if you get an early kill, you're low health, so then you can just come back to lane, or even just like push the lane, and you already have a huge XP advantage. Whereas now, even if you push the lane in, or if you back, they can come back to lane, and they're not behind as much in terms of XP. It's just that gold advantage, so it depends on what you buy. So pay attention to your wave control. It's going to be huge. Wave manipulation. They are changing some ARAM death timer changes here. You know, it says like that's why they're just in the death timers and ARAM going from 12 seconds to 42 seconds to 10 to 40. So a little bit reduction there. Just trying to make it a little bit more interactive in ARAM, as that's what it's intended anyway. The next big thing here is the astronaut skins. They are releasing some astronaut skins for Singed, Fizz, Xerath, which should be really interesting, Ivern, another interesting one, and Kennen. Now, what's not mentioned in this that is mentioned on other sources is that Kennen is being removed from the game upon further investigation. I am not sure what that means at the other sources, if that's actually going to follow through. I don't know. You never really know what to expect, but based on the Twitter post here, if we pull this up and you zoom in here, well, I can't really zoom in 100%, but let's see, where was it? Right here. You can say Lil Kenny. It has it crossed out, but it says moved for further investigation. So, not 100%. Initially, they came out and said they were going to remove Kennen. Now, they're not sure. I don't know what's going on, if there's some sort of exploit or what's up. But, yeah. They also mentioned removing... I don't see it here. But I saw that they mentioned removing some runes. Removing Triumph and possibly... I can't remember what else it was. But it seemed really interesting. I don't know if they're going to follow through with that. What's going on. I believe it was mentioned on this source. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Demonic Embrace. There was Kennen that was mentioned right here. Removed from patch for further investigation. Again, I don't know what that's about and if they're going to follow through with that. But seemed really interesting. The other thing on this source that I saw... Let's see if I can find the rune part. Yeah, right here. Grasp is being removed. Not sure about this. Triumph is being removed. Again, these are proposed stuff. Just keep this in mind, and it's really important to pay attention to this. So when the patch does come out and it's official, please look at it and look for these things. Because if you're going to be running these runes, you really need to know what's up before you just get into champ select. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? Grasp isn't here. Triumph isn't here. What am I going to do? Just pay attention to these things, please. And moving on to the last little tidbit here, I wanted to mention, I'm excited about it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but Teemo, my man, little boy Teemo, is getting a confirmed ASU. That is a art and sustainability upgrade, or update, I should say. Art and sustainability update. He's getting this little thing. Nothing's going to change for his gameplay, but he is getting a change to his art and such in the game. So if you look at him, It just looks refined, really. It looks upgraded, better quality. It's really interesting. We'll see. I'm not sure when this is going to come through. I saw on this source it says somewhere in 2024. I doubt it. In the dev blog, it said that they were looking at this stuff for this year, so they're planning on having less champions come out, I believe, for next year or this year, and instead trying to focus some more on ASU and other stuff to update all the champions. So yeah, I don't know when this is going to come out. I'm assuming it's going to come out sometime this year, but that's just exciting. You know, it's not going to change the gameplay, whatever, but it's exciting nonetheless. Unfortunately, that's the end of the video, Boom Squad. If you could, give me that thumbs up, comment below, subscribe, follow, share, anything you can do to support me. I appreciate it. Peace out.
He appreciates it, and peace out.